Going live, and we should be live. What's going on, D-Bags? Hope you guys are doing well. We're back here again with another episode of the Detox Podcast, episode 309 to be exact. If you're new here and enjoy music, podcasts, comedy, or hooping videos, do consider subscribing. We've got a whole bunch of that stuff going on around here. When you do subscribe, leave a like or hang out with us here in the live chat like you're going to do today. It helps us share conversations and laughs like this with more people. So do consider doing some of that. Plus, we've got a bunch of goodies linked down below, my guests info, as well as a bunch of other stuff, music related and etc. So check that stuff out in the description. Now, before I can introduce you guys to my guests, I got to talk to you guys a little bit about vacation time. It's getting that time of year where it's actually nice out in the Midwest. We have like a couple months where it doesn't suck to live here, and there's no better place to enjoy it than with today's video sponsor, Alpine House 2. Alpine House 2 is a classic Swiss chalet duplex A-frame located up in Iron River, Michigan, right across the street from the Ski Relay Resort. Surrounded by forests, lakes, rivers. Iron River, more specifically, makes Alpine House 2 the destination for fishing, hunting, hiking. Not this time of year, but snowmobiling and stuff like that too. They have been pretty regularly booked up over on Airbnb and Verb, so check them out over there, or you can go to @AlpineHouse2 on Instagram. Tell them that Rita Detox sent you, and they'll help set you guys up. That's @AlpineHouse2 on Instagram. I'm telling you, it's beautiful up in Iron River, Michigan this time of year. Definitely go check them out. Now, before we can really dive into this episode, I got to be honest with you guys. I had no idea what I was doing when I started podcasting. I didn't know what cameras to buy. I didn't know what microphones to have. If you can scroll all the way back, we've got it documented. We've got all the episodes listed. It was rough. It was rough getting started. But today's second video sponsor, Impulse Cameras, can help you skip a lot of the headaches that I had to go through at the beginning of that journey. They've got, not only they have excellent cameras, but they also have some of the best industry people out there, where they're basically going to help you figure out what gear you need for your needs at your budget. They're located in Oak Creek, Wisconsin's Drexel Square, and they have everything you could possibly need, whether it's cameras, lights, microphones, gimbals, or even just a space to record your own content. They literally have all of that. Not to mention they have a super legit rental program, so you can get your hands on some amazing gear without having to commit to buying it. They also offer a monthly membership too, so you can get some discounts on gear, exclusive Discord access, and stuff like that. So check out @impulse.mke on Instagram or impulsecameras.com to see everything they have going on. One last time, that's @impulse.mke on Instagram or impulsecameras.com. Shout out to them for sponsoring another episode of the show. Now, with all the church announcements out of the way, I'm excited to be kicking with my guest this week. We got somebody who I think is a first for us on the Detox Podcast, has his own comedy special coming out here in July. We got to give a very, very wet Detox welcome to Evan Hull here in the building, all the way from Chicago.
Hello, D-Bags.
Yeah.
D-line.
D-line, yeah.
The defense. I got no other D.
Those are
things.
good. That's a good start.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I was just passing through town on my way up to Alpine House 2.
Yes.
To film some videos with my Impulse camera gear. So
that's great.
Yeah, I'm a huge.
It's a tie-in, and a tie-in.
Yeah, I absolutely love all of that.
I got to add more. I think I need more ads at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. I also, help. I mean, we talked about this. I did use Impulse for some of the gear for the hour,
which I think is super dope.
Yeah, and that's random. I didn't do that. I didn't know.
They're
Darren.
not paying us to say that.
I didn't know the D-Bags at the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't part of the legion of D-Bags.
Yeah.
And we found them. They were great. So yeah. I'm not. Look, they're already paying you a flat rate.
Yeah.
So I don't need to plug them
We're just giving them tons
but
more.
I liked them a lot.
No,
so
they're super cool guys. They were on the show not super long ago too. So people that listen to the show know that.
Never mind, I'm out. They upstaged me.
What's somebody that you don't know that you have beef with? Like someone that you don't know personally that you have beef with?
Well, there's gonna be some heavy preface on this.
Okay.
Because it's if I said it outright, I think you probably would be taken down from YouTube.
Oh.
Maybe not, but flagged somehow. So my girlfriend, or my wife as I call her, she's not my wife. She used to work for a nonprofit called the Simon Wiesenthal Center, which was a guy who he was a Nazi hunter back in the day. So it's a Jewish nonprofit, and she doesn't work there anymore. For anyone who's worried about her being staunchly pro-Israel, don't worry about that. She doesn't work for them anymore. But they built this what was called the Mobile Museum of Tolerance, and it was an RV that was anti-hate. Just history. So public leaders, MLK, things like that. And they had a big mural of Malala on the side. You're familiar with Malala?
No.
Malala Yousafzai. Forgive me if I don't know how to say her last.
Who is this person?
She was, I believe, an Afghan woman, or she was Middle Eastern, and she was shot by Al Qaeda or the Taliban or ISIS or one of the Middle Eastern terrorist groups trying to go to school. I think when she's but she became a peace leader,
Gotcha.
and she became an anti. And listen, I'm a really dumb guy, so if I got any of those facts wrong, just like, and if you want to send me the real facts via Instagram, please do that. But be nice about it.
Most people that listen to this podcast, they're not looking for a ton of education.
No, there's too many Legos in this room for me to think that the
Yes.
D-bags are a legion of intellectuals. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, so she was on the side of this bus that they built, and Malala spoke out against Israel, and of course the Simon Wiesenthal Center. This was also pre-October 7th, but obviously the history goes back further than that. A lot of their donors are very wealthy Jews, like elite Jews. We're Jews too. Sorry, sorry, Milwaukee. And so they put Malala on the bus, and then Malala spoke out against Israel, and so. Abby came home from you can censor her name on that, you don't have to, came home from work one day like crying because she'd been yelled at by all these donors, and she was like, I can't believe fucking Malala is ruining my life. Like pro women's rights and civil rights leader Malala is the one I hate most in the world right now. So we are
so that's who we're beefing with.
We're ardently against Malala. This was a couple years ago, but it's a joke in our household.
Yeah. Wow.
Is
dude.
that we hate Malala, and not for any reasons of
that
her
would've been
politics.
better. You would have put no
You
context?
understand why if I was like, I think Malala is a bad person, then we would have been in trouble.
When we cut the clip for this, I might skip the context.
That's fine.
I'll just
Listen, rage bait works. Apparently.
Yeah, that would be great promo for the special.
Yeah, exactly.
We did get some people in the chat here said she's Afghani and she was shot in the face by the Taliban.
Let's fucking
so you
go.
Dude, you're there.
Dude, I am the smartest guy alive.
You could pass
crazy.
a multiple choice test.
I could pass.
This.
Yeah, as long as the choices were pretty barren.
Yeah. Wow, dude, that's crazy. I have beef with there's this lady at Costco that gives out free samples, and I don't think she knows me, but she doesn't know me, but she's just mad at everybody because you don't buy the product.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever met someone that's like giving out samples as
No,
genuinely?
she sounds like as evil as Malala, though.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, I don't know. Like, I'm like, you're not making any extra money if I buy the thing. From
Maybe she's just mad at her mom, and she's dealing with some things.
Yeah.
And she feels a certain amount of insuperiority or inferiority is a word. Once again, dumb guy.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Like, it's every time it's like you try something, she's like, "Yup, product's right behind me. Take some before you leave." And I'm like, okay.
I think you're internalizing.
No, but then you try to walk away, or like if you second person, like if you have two people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one person leaves the cart to go get a sample. Mm-hmm. She's only letting you take one, bro. Even though she sees there's two of you. So then the second person has to come up. When she sees a second person, she's like, no, really, there's product behind me. Please take some before you leave. And it's like
she feels deputized by this role.
Yeah.
And she needs to relax a little.
It's like hall monitor energy a little bit.
Because if I was working the sample counter, I'd be launching them into kids' mouths across the, you know what I mean? Just like I'd make a show out of it because who cares? It's the sample counter at Costco.
It's a loss. They're taking the loss on it anyways. They don't care.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not really a loss.
Yeah, that's true.
Compared to what I'm stealing out of Costco, it's not a loss.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mentioned your first special coming out in the intro.
Yeah.
That's insane, Mike. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's
it's a lot of work is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's we live in a time where specials aren't special anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I sort of agree with that and disagree with that. I think that it's cool that comedy and people's I don't want to call comedy or what I do art, but people's art is like very accessible. So it is special and it is important. And if you have that thing that you want to like work forward to and put time into, I think you should do that. And I don't like when people go like, I hate that he's calling it a special. He sucks at not about me, but about, it's like, that's a common narrative is like, oh, he sucks. Why is he making a special? And it's like, because he can't just let. It's like you're podcasting in your studio.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's like just let people do what they want to do, and that's not to take down what I did. I think it's very good, and I should say if it's not very good, I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
We worked really hard for it for a year and a half. I think my crew did an amazing job, and more than anything, like I made it to make it because I got to a point where I was just sort of like. I'm doing all this comedy and working really hard, and I was like, I don't have anything. I don't have anything to show. Like, because comedy's the only art form that doesn't have like a tangible product. Like it's not like writing where you can at least say like, oh, I have a blog. Like it's like, oh, I do comedy. It's like, oh, what do you do? And you're like, well, you got to come to Scruffy Murphy's on a Tuesday, And it's like, So I wanted to do it for that reason. So whether people enjoy it or not, you know, if you hate it, maybe just shut up about it. But if you love it, that's great, and that's what I want. But again, more than anything, just wanted to make it to make a thing.
And it's got to be beautiful to have a timestamp. I mean, I know you don't want to call it art, but like stand up is an art, and I think like it's cool to have a timestamp of like this was what I thought. I curated this set. I put a lot of time in. Like you said, you had all these different people. We talked about a little bit off air. All these different people that you know got to work on it. That's a special thing.
Yeah.
And it captures that moment in time for forever. And like you said, it's like an album almost.
Exactly. Well, that's what I wanted was an album, but you can't make an album not in digital form these days. But I think that that touches on a point that I was very excited about when I made it, is that like I don't mean to be like a purist about it, but I do think that like some artists, you listen to their first stuff and you're like, oh, this is like the best stuff that they made, and it's not the best stuff, but it's the most raw and it's the most honest, and there's still some like, you know, some
hunger,
hunger, and some like there's some holes in it, and that's what's exciting, because then as that person progresses, you can sort of see those things come together in an even more exciting way.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make a thing because I felt like I was ready to be like, I want to put out what all of this has accumulated into so far.
Yeah.
And have it hopefully be the first of many. And if it's not, like, I still made the thing, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
And I think that seeing, you know, it's like we have all these comics that it's like, oh, no one's ever heard of them, and then they're on Netflix, and it's like, that's cool, that's really cool. But the ones that I looked up to, the comics that I looked up to, I listened to some of their first work, and it makes me so excited, because it's not that good, or it is good, it's very good, but it's just not what we know them as. And I'm not comparing myself in any way to those people, but that's what was so exciting about like making that first thing, was like, if we're gonna do this first one, I want it to be raw, I want it to be honest, I want it to be you know, just what it is right now. Yeah.
How long do you think, like, I mean, it's an hour of stuff, which people
it's
that
55 minutes,
which, so people that don't know stand up, right? They don't understand that, like, if you're just getting started in stand up and someone told you to go do 10 minutes, that's daunting.
A long time.
That's a really
time.
Fucking
so
long
to
time. Do 55 minutes, man. How long, if you had to like give a guess, to get all that material together, because you've been working and you've been doing comedy now, we were talking off air a little bit, for around 10 years. So about how
I mean, I started, the first time I did comedy was 10 years ago.
Okay.
I think that I didn't really start doing it till I was in Chicago, which was January of 2019, so just over like almost 6.5 years. But yeah, I mean, 10 years since I like put it in my brain that this was what I wanted to do for my life. So how long were you asking?
Like, what do you think, like, about, like, because obviously you're finding your footing in those first years. You're finding your footing. You're finding your voice, and I'm sure you're still working on those types of things now.
Sure,
but like, when it comes to this special specifically, all the jokes in there, like, what's the oldest joke in there?
Oh fuck! There's probably a joke. Maybe 2 jokes that were from like my first year or 2 were in Chicago. So everything, but I would say the bulk of it, like probably 80% of it, is from the last 2 years, if not like 2.5 years.
Still, man, that's a lot of writing.
And it is, and it's a lot of like, I'm on the road a lot. Like I try to be on the road, like at least 2 to 3 weekends a month. Just because that's what I like to do, and I like to do more than 10 minutes, which is what you get in the city. And there's a lot of great comics in the city who are doing 10-minute sets constantly, and that's no shame to them. It's just not what I wanted. I wanted to, like, I love doing shows in like small towns for a bunch of, you know, freaks, basically. Like, I love that. And I love doing 20, 30 minutes and figuring out how to do that. Just as much during the ones that are brutal as I do in the ones that are great for different reasons. And yeah, it took like, I don't know, it's a lot. It's 55 minutes. It's an hour. It is a really long time. And you'd be surprised how quickly it comes together if you like really try to put together an hour. And I think a lot of people think of an hour as 6-10 minute sets, and it's just not. And I know for a fact that like I will look back on this hour and go, that wasn't an hour. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what that was. But it is that way. It has to advance that way, because that's how you get to doing an hour of like bulletproof comedy, as opposed to being like, oh, I'm a great comedian in 10-minute bursts. So I'm going to put together 6 of my best 10-minute sets. And even though those are great 10-minute sets, it just doesn't work that way.
I imagine you probably have to find that balance, like that flow, almost like I don't want to say not everyone's like a storytelling comic, right? But like you almost have to find a way to, if you were to try to cram, 5-10 minute sets together, you'd have to figure out a way to have that flow into each other, so you're not like these weird random big crescendos and then going into something else. Yes. That could be kind of awkward.
Well, 10 minutes is like you said, it's a long time starting out. It's not a long time anymore because you realize like once you can do 10, like 10 is a really sweet spot. I like 10, 12, 15 minutes, like so fun, and that's not that much time when you've been doing this for enough time. But you'd be shocked how stringing together 10 minutes, it's like, oh, I did 10. Okay, great. That was a good 10. Okay, now we're at 20 minutes. That was great. And then minute 23 rolls around and you're like, oh, fuck. The energy's different. Like, I'm tired. They're tired. And you have to learn how to, like, make that not feel like 6-10 minute sets and instead feel like a cohesive piece. And it's really hard. And I've done hours before. I'm not going to act like I've been doing hours for years. I think I probably, like, leading up to this special, I think the first time I ever did like a full hour was like only a year out from the special. And I'd done 30s and 40s and 35s and like those longer sets where like those do start to get exhausting. So I wasn't like, I didn't feel like I wasn't ready for that. But it's just not the same as doing the shorter sets.
So we have a lot of comics on the show. We have a lot of comics that listen to the show. Like if somebody is interested in maybe they've put in some time, they feel pretty good about some jokes, they got a collection of stuff that they want to start putting together. What for you, if you want to bring us into like the step-by-step of like actually producing your own special? Because that's something a lot of people, especially now in today's day, it's almost similar to musicians. We're like, we do everything ourselves now. We produce the album, we do all the clips for it, we're posting about it, we're doing all of our own promo. You're usually cutting the songs yourself. Like that, you've done that here in the comedy realm. So there's tons of other comics that want to do something similar. What would be? Give me like that step by step.
The biggest thing, and we were talking about this off air. I think that the two biggest things for a comic who wants to record their live thing is use people who and love you and love what you're doing, or support you in some way, and that like for the crew, because it just comes back to you tenfold that they're willing to support a thing and they're not doing it just for the money. I mean, you need to probably pay them. I certainly did. Because it's their work too. But like, use people that and that you care about and care about you, because it's going to take a lot of stress off of like, I was saying like, I maybe could have approached a production company and someone who does this more like regularly and professionally, but one of my biggest fears was showing up and this is the first time I'm working with these people and they're in front of the camera and they don't know me and they don't know my act and they don't know all these things. The director, Ben, was a good friend of mine from college and has been one of my best friends since then. He's a very talented comedian. He's great behind the camera. And he's a comedy scholar. Like, he knows comedy. And he came on the road with me for like the last year up to the special and just filmed. We didn't even use any of those clips.
Wow.
A lot of bad shows, a lot of like terrible road gigs. But what he told me when I asked him to do it was, he goes, my job is to make it so that when we record the hour, you don't have to think about my job. Your job is to my job is to make it so that you can do your job without even considering that there's cameras in the room. And that's not just like a comfort thing. Like, you're always going to think about the cameras in the room, but literally being like, oh, why is that over there? Why is that over there? Why is he doing that?
So it was just like,
and he knew that if he did that with me, that I would trust him to get the right shots at the right times and do everything the right way. And he nailed it. He fucking nailed it. There are shots in the hour that I'm so proud of that I don't want to sound conceited, but there are shots that I've never seen in another like comedy special before. Awesome. And not in any sort of like a grandiose like we're breaking the form kind of way, but like there's just shots that I've never seen, and the reason why is because he knew my act so well that he knew what shot to get on certain punchlines. And like this is where the impulse thing comes in. So we did 3 shows. We did Friday and then 2 Saturday. And after the Friday show was good. We actually didn't use most of it for the hour. We used most of Saturdays. Saturday morning, he's like, we were staying at this Airbnb down together, and he's like, hey, I know this is annoying, but I want to try to get this zoom lens for a Canon camera. And I was like, I know that like we told you this was all the gear that we would need, and I don't want you to have to pay more money, but like I have an idea and I want it to, I think it'll be cool. And I was like, let's do it. And we found Impulse, which is where we got down to them, and they were like, that's so cool. We love the club. You know, we want to help out with this. And they gave us for like $30 for the day. And we're just like, bring it back whenever. And the shots that we used that zoom lens for are my 2 favorite shots in the entire hour. That's wild. And it was all because Ben knew what he was doing with my hour. And he was like, he was like, do you want me to tell you what I'm doing? And I was like, I don't know. Is it going to be weird? He was like, no. And I was like, great, do it. Yeah. And he did it. And I watched it and I was like, holy shit. Yeah. When did that happen? He's like, that's a zoom lens right there. Yeah. Like, so get people, sorry, I know this was like a lot of, I can talk, by the way.
That's all right. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do.
And I won't shut up. But like, get people that like support that vision that you have. Yeah. And people who you also like the things that they do, because there's a lot of people who are great and I am good friends with that I wouldn't want to work with, not because they're not great, but just because like what they're doing is just not the stuff that I'm interested in. And he and I watched, like, we spent the whole year going up to it watching different people's hours, good ones, bad ones, and I'll tell you who the bad ones were, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I won't do that. But like we watched like, I don't know, 50, 100 hours together. That's probably an overstatement, but just to be like, oh, we like that. Oh, we don't like that. We like this, but it's done wrong. Like this is how we need to do that if we want to do that. And that was all him. I mean, that was all him being like, this is what we need to do to make this happen. So get people who support that and like really want to help you out with that. And the cinematographer was his best friend from maybe high school, college. I guess they've told me a million times. I think they just have known each other for a long time. And he's a really talented cinematographer, and he directs like horror films and short films and like pilots in Chicago and stuff. And their taste is so similar that when Ben told me, he was like, oh, this guy Ian, he's the guy who we want on this, I was like, do it. Like, because I knew that like I trusted Ben, I didn't need to have any conversation with him, and he did his job by doing what he said he was going to do, which is let me handle the details, you handle what you got to do.
And spending all that time together on the road too, that builds that rapport, that builds that trust. It does, so you can let that thing go.
And half that was partying, you know what I mean? Like we're going to the Airbnb and like, you know, drinking Buzz Balls and watching Adam Sandler movies, and it was fun. It was really fun. And then the second thing, and this is sort of an offshoot of the first thing, is find a room that you love, like a stage that you love. And I don't mean like, oh, I just have good sets in this room. Like, for instance, like the Lincoln Lodge in Chicago, one of my favorite stages. I love them. They love me. But I mean a room that like really has shown that they care about you. And that's what the Laughing Tab was for me. Like they were the first club to, maybe not the first, but like first club to ever like give me a weekend of hosting, give me a weekend of featuring, you know, and then became people where like I would see them and they would say like, explicitly say like, hey, we love you and we love having you here and you are welcome anytime. And then to the point where like I was able to just look at their schedule and see who's there and be like, hey, I really want to work with this person. Can I do that? And they would say, yeah, that's great. Absolutely. Because they knew that like, it's reciprocal. Like, not only do they care about me, but they know that I care about them and I care about this and I'm going to do a good job. And so when I got the idea to shoot this, I was like, it has to be there. It has to be there because I knew that they are a business and they care about their business, but they do so by caring about the people who help their business thrive. Yeah, and for people that don't know, dude, Laughing Tab does so many dope things for like the comedy scene. I mean, they offer like, even for if you go to like, if you're a stand-up comic or an aspiring one and you'd go to like one of their Wednesday open mics, they usually, just so you touch in the stage, you can pay what you want for the weekend. Whoever the headliner is that weekend, you can come see him, and it's a pay what you want kind of sliding scale that way. You know, so they do very much support comics. Yeah, they do tons of stuff to help the local scene out and even the regional scene in that way. So I think that's beautiful. Yeah, and so I was super set on that. Where, like I said, they put so much into me, and they knew that I put so much into them that it was like, as soon as I featured. So not obviously this January we recorded the special. Last January 2024, I featured there for a great comic who's one of my favorites, and that's when I knew like, okay, we want to film this here. And I was like, it's time to ask, and I asked them, and it was like, I was expecting to be like, hey, like we can talk about this. Like I know I'm not like, headlining clubs every weekend. And I didn't even get through the sentence before they were like, yeah, 100%. And I was like, well, are you sure you guys don't? Like, I literally was like, you guys want to talk about it? And they're like, no, of course not. Like,
That's fucking awesome.
We're ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, 100%, you'll get a whole weekend. This is what we'll pay you. Like, and it was just like, okay. Because in the same way as Ben and Ian, they were just like, no, we love you. We support this.
Yeah.
You've put in so much to us. We've put in so much to you. This is a perfect match.
Yeah.
And I just knew I wanted to record it there.
I think that's such a...
And they could have said no, and I would have found another great room. But
Yeah.
that's what I wanted, and that's how you get that, is by talking to people who care about you as much as you care about them.
And I haven't obviously seen, especially as not out yet, but I think that's probably when there's that kind of love coming from all different angles of the behind the scenes into literally the place that you're doing it, and then your care for the people that are behind those cameras and everything else. I think that's probably going to come through, man.
Yeah,
I think that's going to come
I
through
hope
on the
so.
film.
And again, like, look, not everyone's gonna like it. Is it the greatest piece of comedy I've ever seen? No, it's. I mean, like, for God's sake, like, I'm not. I know who I am and what I'm doing. But like I said, I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of all the people who worked on it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So like, obviously you've got this huge chunk of material coming out that's going to be basically now like burned onto the internet. Where do you get most of your inspiration from writing? Is it from outside work? Is it relationships? Like, what are we?
It's outside stuff. I think a lot of it's fairly conceptual. I don't think that. I think that a lot of my jokes are weird. Not weird in like an alt sense, but like I like talking about sex robots and dying in war.
Yeah.
Two things I've never done. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But just like as conceptual ideas for me. And I have some like more normal stuff about like, getting high and getting drunk and stuff like that. But like, I really like just sort of things that I think that, I've always told people, like, if you find something funny, you'll find a way to make it funny for other people as well. And I think that and I'm not trying to throw shade. This is going to sound like a sort of, burnout old guy thing to say. But like, I think that a lot of young comics are, seeing the world of comedy now, and they're writing jokes for TikTok and Instagram, even if they don't realize it, because that's what the game is.
Yeah.
And I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone should do that.
Yeah.
Because I think that this is the ultimate platform to talk about the things that you care about talking about.
Yeah.
And so,
how lame, dude, if you're not going to joke about the things you want to joke about.
I know. Well, I don't think that those people are necessarily not doing that. I'm just seeing that the form has changed so much from like the stuff that I really looked up to and like really enjoyed into these sort of more like digestible, topical, and I don't mean topical in content, but like topical in like delivery, things that are just sort of, I'm kind of like, all right, yeah, that's like funny, but shut up, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, it's made for sort of a digital performance as opposed to, like a more raw and honest.
Yeah. A thought that they maybe were curious about. Like, you're talking
something
about, like,
that you want to explore.
Yeah. Like fucking a robot.
Yeah. Like having like sex robots.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bit about.
Would you?
What? Fuck a sex robot?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I want to taste that sweet manufactured pussy.
Yeah, they may. I mean, dude, they're getting better and better.
Thanks for not giving me anything on that, because that really hurt to say out loud.
Yeah, they're getting better and better, man. They really are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm not interested. It doesn't make me horny.
I wouldn't purchase one.
No,
but if it was
like,
there,
yeah, I'm not. Listen, I hate to quote one of my favorite comics here, who has only said this on his podcast, but he says, "Taste everything in life's little buffet," and that's kind of I'm like, that's exactly right. If someone was like, "Do you want to fuck my sex doll?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I want to fuck your sex doll." Yeah. Of course, I want to fuck your sex doll. Yeah, I need to know. I need to know what that feels like.
Yeah, I feel like just to test the manufacturer, just to see what they've capable of,
of course.
Because I mean, like, that'd be like saying no to the first iPhone when they were like passing that around. Like, that's you can't.
I'm trying to
try it out. Let me see. I never felt the touch.
I had a guy. We were in Quad Cities, Iowa / Illinois, because two of them are in Iowa and two are in Illinois. And I did that sex dolls bit, and this guy came up to us after the show, and he's like, I have a sex doll. And I was like, okay, awesome. Like, just being like, oh, cool. I can't wait to. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I need him to tell me more, but I don't want to talk to this guy. Like, I wish I could hear him talk about it, not to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Do you have a picture I can see? And he was like, yes. And he showed me, and I was like,
how legit was it?
So listen, so he was like, I was like, why do you have that? And his friend was standing there laughing at him, and I'm being like, this is insane that you're telling me this right now. He's like, why? And I was like, well, because this is like weird that you're telling me this. And he was like, well, I don't have it for like, I don't fuck it. And I was like, but you do though.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I bought it as a joke. And I was like, okay, well, all right. So this is weirder then, because anyone who actually bought it as a joke wouldn't be telling. Like, there was something wrong with it. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, let me see it. And he showed me a picture, and I was like, okay, awesome. And he's like, I paid $300 extra for the tits. And I was like, you didn't buy this as a joke. You're fucking that thing constantly. That sex doll is in peril at your home. Yeah.
Dude, what makes a person think? I mean, I know it's comedy in general that happens. I feel like when I've talked to other comics, like, something about what you do up on stage makes somebody feel comfortable enough to be like, you know what? I haven't told anybody else that's close to me this information, but I'm going to let you know.
I think that there's a comfort in comedy that they think that you're their friend, in the same way that like people think that podcasters are their friends because they listen to them conversations all the time.
Yeah.
And my take on it is like, first of all, I want everyone to say the most insane shit to me because I love that. I think it's exciting. That's what I like doing comedy for, because I get to hang out with freaks and weirdos all the time. And I will never shy away from that conversation. And I do understand and acknowledge that comes with the privilege of being a man, that, you know, I can be approached by a man who's like, I like to fuck inanimate objects and not feel like I'm in sexual danger.
Yeah.
Sure. But like, I want that and I enjoy that. But I can't understand the pathology of it, so I just have to go like, please tell me more. Like, I need to know this. Yeah.
Just have fun. Yeah, you get the luxury to just like have fun with it for a minute, and you don't have to actually know that person.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's good. That's what's good about it, I think. Speaking of knowing people, when you were in school, when you were coming up, young lad, maybe high school era, did you ever take a woods class?
A woods class?
Like
out in the woods?
Like a tech ed class, like you're doing stuff with your hands, you're like
sawing like wood
wood.
shop.
Yeah,
wood shop. No, I took so I grew up in Denver, and my high school was a very diverse. I say inner city because it was inner city, but it wasn't an inner, like the word inner city typically refers to like poorer areas of, but it was like kids from all over the city. Like we had kids that were on food stamps, and we had kids that were like driving their Porsches to school, and everything in between. It was a huge high school. And it was very academic focused, because Denver isn't really like a manufacturing, like we didn't get the trades. There was a wood shop, and there was some like, but it was more like engineering and chemistry and like STEM stuff. So I took an engineering class, but I never took a woods class. No.
Damn, so who were you afraid of then? Because in my high school, the thing was, I'm from Wisconsin, right? Rural Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Dude, they had like these kids, I mean, they let 14-year-olds with welding machines, bro.
That's the experience I would have wanted, because that's the stuff I like, and I wish I would have learned that stuff.
I took a woods class, right?
Yeah.
I did not touch one single piece of wood. I actually would beg my friends. I would just go to a different person every week. We had to like finish this board. You had to have this board. You had to like laser engrave your name in it. You had to like drill some weird notches on the sides. There was like 6 or 7 steps, and it was like a 6 or 7 week process. And every week I would just find a different person to just do one of the. I'd be like, I don't really know how to use this machine, and they would do it. These guys, I mean, these were grown men.
Yeah,
you're 14 and they look 40.
Yeah.
And I'm just afraid of all of them.
You're like, you smell like 2 divorces.
How are
like, you doing this? Yeah.
I just need to, like, I'm like, please just do this for me. And they're like, oh, you got soft hands, brother. And they just take it from me. I'll do it for you. Like, it's like, I'm like, oh, big, strong man, can you do this for me? And they all love it, bro. But it's scary. You get in like a metals or a woods lab, and the shit that these kids get up to, like, I was afraid. I was in all those classes because I was in the engineering stuff, and you like had to take some of it.
I wish I'd gotten that stuff.
It was scary. It was like the Vegas of my high school.
I mean, Denver's even like when I was growing up, even then it had started becoming this sort of like what we know it now as sort of this like hodgepodge nothing, like nothing culturally.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of like outdoor and like crunchy granola folks still.
Sure.
And it was even more so that way because it was like the OG hippies that were living there. So our like anything that would be considered like woods classes or any like trades, and they're not trades, but like everything was like outdoor education, conservation, like even the like, like learning how to ski, learning how to bike, learning how to climb, like
really?
That, I mean, not necessarily school sponsored, but like those were the activities.
Yeah.
So instead of being like you're learning your trade, it was like we were existing in the Colorado ecosystem.
Wow.
Every school trip was like I don't know, my middle school took us to like we did like a weekend at like the Keystone Science School. Wow. Which is just like we did like avalanche safety and like studying snowpack and things like that, and like teaching us about trees and shit like that. So it was much more like that would be what I would consider the like world training
That
I
would have
got.
been like the hands-on
But it's still
stuff.
like the more crunchy granola stuff as opposed to like teaching us trades.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what does like the average kid from that school like go on to do?
Oh, fucking real estate and finance.
Really?
I mean,
That's
yeah,
it?
but
That's
they're
pretty much it,
or
yeah.
sales. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a normal like city high school, public high school. Like I said, it was very diverse, very diversified, like economically, racially, everything.
Yeah.
And most of the like kids that I grew up with are you know, just doing what we're all doing.
Yeah.
Working in sales,
Yeah.
you know, selling tech,
Yeah.
real estate agents. Like
Wow.
it really was. I don't think I know many people who are working in the trades.
That's so wild, dude, because literally the opposite for me. It's
Yeah.
like everybody I know is doing, like, I tell
I mean, I
them
guess
what
I know
I
a
do.
ton of people like in service and stuff.
Sure.
Like that.
Yeah.
But it was more metropolitan than anything that was more like, you know, industrial focused. Yeah.
What's something that frustrates you about Denver? What's something you wish they did better?
That they could do better.
Yeah, what's something the city needs, or what's something that pisses you off about Denver?
I don't know if I'm pissed off about Denver because I love Denver and I love that people love my home.
Yeah.
And I still, it's, you know, it's one of the most beautiful places in the country. I think what bums me out, and this is personal, I'm not trying to make a judgment on the people of Denver, but like I said, when I was growing up there, it still had like a culture of like, it was not a cow town anymore, but it was still like this sort of Western, like we had ranchers and we had like, you know, like true OG hippies that were like, you know, anti-vaxxers, but not for any political reasons, like anti-vaxxers from the 60s and 70s and things like that. And now I go back and I'm like, Denver's a lovely place. It just has no culture. And I know that a lot of people are going to be like, well, you're that's because you're not up on Federal all the time. It's like, no, I understand that. Like I grew up in a white neighborhood. That's like, but I mean, as a whole, it's become this place where like, everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm like living in Denver. I'm like a nature girl. And I'm like, well, you're from Kansas. Like everyone's from Kansas or Missouri. And that's fine. That's great. That's like, I'm happy for Denver as a place and I'm happy that it's a place people want to live. But on the flip side, the reason why I love Chicago more than anything is because I feel like I'm part of Chicago. Having lived there for only 6 years. I'm like, this place has its own identity. The people of Chicago understand the people of Chicago, and I think Denver's just a little bit more diluted in that way.
You think the food's better in Chicago?
Yeah, I think the food's better in Chicago.
I'd say so too.
Yeah,
I haven't spent much time in Denver.
There's some great places in Denver, and I know that the Denver folks are going to kick me for saying that it doesn't have a food because they're going to go, oh, it's green chili, and it's like, yeah, but a lot of places have green chili.
Yeah.
But green chili is a great thing in Denver, but like it doesn't. Yeah, the food's in Chicago is way better. Way better. But it's OG. It's because all the immigrants still live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Chicago's awesome. I think it's one of the coolest cities in the world, hands down.
Yeah,
And the comedy scene too. I mean, there's plenty of comics like in the city or that have come from the city.
Yeah,
like, it's a cool
storied
spot.
past for sure.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Speaking of comics and whatnot, I'm curious to get your opinion on this. What do you think is more embarrassing? Right, we're artists on the rise. You've been doing this for a while. You've known what it's like to be on the come up, maybe kind of feel like you're not so good at it at the beginning and whatnot. What do you think is more embarrassing? To be a somewhat failing, struggling comedian, a failing or struggling SoundCloud rapper, or a failing, struggling OnlyFans model?
I don't think either. I don't think any of those things are embarrassing.
You don't think so?
As long as you are doing it with, this is the lamest. I mean, I don't mean to get too earnest, but if you're doing it with your heart and you love that thing, I would say if you're failing and struggling, you should find a way to love it without tying it to you. And you have to change.
Is there a way to love the OnlyFans one with
if you love popping your pussy online and having creepy men send you dick pics in your DMs, like if that's what you love and you actually are enjoying that, like I can't get in the mind of someone who really claims to love that. Or maybe you love the money that comes from it, and that's fine too. But I think that if it's like really what you want to do, then maybe you need to revisit what your goals and your intentions and your self-worth that's tied to it is. But I don't think it's embarrassing. I know so many people who are quote failing, struggling comedians. I think it's arguable that I'm a failing, struggling comedian.
I mean, we all are. We all are at this point.
Like,
I mean, so I guess I was kind of trying to play a joke, and I wanted to segue into this because I've seen this talk online recently where there's like seems to be a career trajectory of a lot of like sketch comics that do stand-up comedy as well. They get to like a certain level of popularity, and then like every single one of their new pieces of content is just like them with an OnlyFans model. I don't know if you've seen this trend.
I think that's getting caught up in the sauce of being famous online, which is not an actual thing, because there's so many people who are famous online.
Yeah.
And I think that social media has rewired our brains to think that if you're around cool people, that makes you cool, because the whole point of social media is posting the things that, like the good stuff, right? That's why we all have body dysmorphia now, and that's why we're all think we're not doing enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's the toxic part of it. And I think that the people who are like, this is what it's become, where this is what my life is, and I'm with all these cool, hot people. It's like, yeah, it's great. I'm like happy for you, but I don't believe that that's what your life is.
Yeah. Or that it's even what you want at the end of the day. Like,
yeah, and maybe it is what you want, but if that's what you want, then I don't really respect that.
I don't want to hang out with you. Yeah, I don't like you.
Yeah, but I mean, but I don't know, if you're cool, you're cool.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting. It's something that's kind of been funny, where it's like you'll see somebody, they have some good sketches on YouTube, TikTok, etc., whatever, and then they get to a certain level of popularity, and then it's like all of a sudden you watch this like slow de-evolution of like their sketches to where it's like every single thing now is just like a sex bit, and they have a new OnlyFans model.
And I
every
think
week.
there's also some pressure that comes along with
keeping viewership
and continuing to put out content. And I hear that sucks, but also like you should be doing things that you enjoy. And yeah, sometimes you do have to post something that you don't want to really post because you need to post something, and you have something and it's fine, but it's not what you love. There's jokes of mine that are on my Instagram where I'm like, yeah, it's funny and it did well. Yeah. But I don't love that joke because I don't think it exemplifies what I love about comedy, but it did well. Yeah. And there is some of that, but I think you should also be honest with yourself a little bit. But again, if your career gets made because people need a YouTube video from you every day, then that's got to be really fucking hard. Yeah. And I have a job that I work at, and you know, not every day is a day where I'm like, I did my best work. But I get paid for it. So. Yeah.
It's interesting though. That is something with social media specifically. Like you have to be okay with kind of letting some stuff go. Where it's like, okay, you know, I want to make this the best thing. I want to love every single thing that I do, but it's not always going to work out that way. It's not always
going to work out. But I think you should post things that you at least put heart into, and if it just doesn't do well, then that's the downside. Yeah. But also, I think the real key is that you'll do well on social media if you don't have any self-awareness or conception of self.
You'll do better. Yeah, you'll do much better.
Because you'll never have this conversation with yourself that we're having right now. Yeah. Well, and I commend you.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
It is interesting. Yeah, the biggest people always can just shamelessly do.
And we know who they are. Yeah. And we see it, and we all talk about it. But guess what? They're fucking reeling it in right now. Yeah,
we're making them money by doing it.
We're making money. That's right.
What's something you think about a lot? What's something you think about a lot that's bothering you, or that's got you maybe something that you're just curious about that you don't understand?
I need you to refine that question for me a little bit.
Okay.
Do you mean conceptually, or do you mean like what is something that I love to learn about?
Conceptually. What's something that's perplexing you?
I think about death a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about it? Are you afraid of it, or?
Yeah, I'm afraid of but I don't know that I'm afraid of being dead. I think I'm afraid of dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is dying scary so much?
I don't know, because I think I'm a very neurotic guy, and I'm a very nervous guy, and my whole life I've just kind of always assumed that something bad is going to happen, is about to happen. Yeah. And that means that one day I'll be right.
True. I mean, technically, yeah, you're hedging your bets.
And hopefully that bad thing happens in a hospital bed at a ripe old age, but that's not what happens to, you know. I'm not saying that I'm scared of like I'm going to die tomorrow. It's just I feel like such an idiot saying this. No, I can't really conceptualize, or I can't really explain why it's something I think about all the time, but it's just something I think about all the time.
I mean, I think it's fair. I think from like a evolutionary standpoint, probably good to remind yourself every once in a while, like I could, you know? Yeah. What do you think what would be the lamest way you could go out? And then give me the coolest way you could go out.
I actually think I had a bit about this for a while that never took off anywhere. And I think it's because I couldn't find an actual really lame way to die. But there's some, I think...
There's some,
and this might be in the hour actually. Now that I remember, I think drowning would be stupid.
Really?
For me, yeah.
Why?
Because it's something that could very well happen to me because I'm too confident in the water. Oh. And it's like that's one of those deaths where if it happened to me, I'd be like, God damn it, I'm such a dipshit.
Yeah.
I think.
Are you a good swimmer?
I'm a great swimmer. I was a diver. I was a college diver.
Oh shit.
So I'm very comfortable in the water. yeah, I think drowning is lame. I think like I mean the comic in me wants to find an answer that's like ironic.
Yeah.
I can't think of a lot of funny. One that always made me laugh to think about was getting run over by a milk truck. Always made me laugh to have like it says got milk while it's crunching your bones.
Oh God, yeah.
That always made me laugh, but I don't know that that's tremendously funny.
Yeah, I mean that would suck though.
But I
to be
think
killed by the got milk or like the Oscar Mayer Wiener mobile thing.
Yeah, it's like because it's just it's just cosmic humor right there essentially. Yeah. But I think that the honest answer is like the lamest way to die is the way that most people are going to die, which is on the couch eating chips. And their heart just fucking blows up. Yeah. And that's the lamest way to die, but it's also kind of the best way to die.
You think so?
I think so, because I don't need, like, I think everyone wants to imagine that they're going to die in some, like everyone this is a crazy thing to say.
Right,
I think everyone kind of wants to be a tragedy. So that people, because then people go like, oh, so Darren, he was such a lovely, we loved him so much. He had so much ahead of him. But I don't think anyone wants to die and be that. But I think that everyone like sort of romanticizes the idea that there will be hundreds of people at their funeral and speaking and crying and all that stuff. But the honest answer is like, you'll probably be about 65 to 72 and you'll be on a bike ride and your fucking brain will pop and that'll just sort of be the end of it.
Wear a bike or wear a helmet. Wear a helmet on your bike.
Well, I meant like an aneurysm. And helmets haven't. Most helmets don't protect against aneurysms.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Do people get aneurysms while they're on bikes?
I think that's maybe the fun thing about an aneurysm is that it doesn't care what you're doing.
I see. I don't like knowing that shit.
So now we're coming around on what I'm talking about.
I don't like knowing about
I'm
that.
glad I brought you into my party.
It's the same thing. Hernias. I think a lot about hernias.
Hernias not gonna do shit to you.
But
what are you talking about?
No, because fitness is like super important to me, and if I couldn't work out for like an extended period of time because of a hernia, I would be really pissed. You can pop them from working out.
I consider that just occupational hazard, where it's like those things are just going to happen if you're doing that for long enough. Yeah. That's part of life, and a hernia is not that big of a deal. I think the scarier thing would be like like a runaway train crashing through the door of the gym and running you guys all over, because that's not something that you could even have a conception of.
Yeah, I guess, or Killdozer or something.
Killdozer, yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Marvin Heemeyer fan, so I don't let's not speak about the king that way. All right?
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I think so. That's the thing that blows my mind. Like, it's not the obvious ones that freak me out. It's the ones of like that where it's like you could just be eating a sandwich. And then a guy has an aneurysm at the wheel and drives through the door of the sandwich shop. That's what fucks me up.
Yeah, wow. Then that's some severe anxiety.
Yeah, I got a lady for that.
Yeah, I was like, damn, man, that's
But it's not. That's the thing though. I don't consider it anxiety necessarily because I don't sit there and stew on like it doesn't stress me out.
But
it's just something I think about constantly. It's the Final Destination scenarios. Yeah. As opposed to...
You don't watch those movies, I hope. Then.
I love those movies.
Okay.
I love all that stuff.
This guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's... Maybe that's not a good exercise for you. It's giving your brain more ammo.
I just like everything, though. Yeah. I just like enjoying everything. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. That's wow, dude. All right, so we're afraid that anything could happen suddenly.
Yeah, but I guess it's not even that
I'm not afraid. It's just
you're
that
like
of dying,
I have the idea that it's the fact that there's no certainty ever, I think, is what maybe stresses me out, that there's just absolutely no there's no guidelines to any of this. But that's also what's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because that means I don't know.
I'm following but not following.
Yeah, I'm a really stupid guy.
No, I think I get conceptually what you're saying. But yeah, there is I get. I mean, there's
no structure to anything.
Yeah, and that's
beautiful, but it's also terrifying.
Yeah. And we could die, right? We get done with this podcast.
Yeah.
I haven't upgraded these cameras in a long time. We got to hit impulse up. Maybe what if just one of them explodes?
That's right. That's exactly right.
It could explode, blow up my arm.
You're like, a guy flies off a hot air balloon over. We're on the top floor of this building. You could crash onto our studio right now. It's probably not going to happen.
That would be good for
both
our careers.
But if that did happen, it would be amazing for both of our careers. It'd be even better for your girlfriend's career because she probably wouldn't die from it. It's like that's the thing that like it almost freaks me out, because that could happen and you could just be like, oh god damn it, and then you're dead, as opposed to like, okay, I lived this life and now I'm choking on a chip. Well, all right, well, I'm 78, so here we go.
Wow. Yeah, maybe the chip is probably the best way to go.
It is the best way to go.
Yeah. What kind of chips would you want to be eating, you think?
Kettle cooked.
Kettle cooked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably like salt and a little bit of pepper.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I think choking on a salt and vinegar chip would suck.
That would hurt. It'd be kind of painful.
Because you're like, what am I, 9?
Yeah.
Why am I eating salt and vinegar?
Dude, I like.
My fingers taste like barf.
You don't do the baked chips? I like the baked chips.
They're fine.
I like them better, kind of.
They're not bad.
I think they've grown on
I'm not anti. I just don't agree.
Baked. What about like a baked Cheeto?
I don't really dabble in Cheetos much. But only to say I don't really have much of an opinion on it.
I'm gonna give you a baked Cheeto when we get done.
I'm sure I've had them. I just don't haven't.
I'm gonna jog the memory.
It's not something that goes into my chip hierarchy.
Yeah. What is the hierarchy? Just kettle cooked, fucking pepper.
Yeah, those are good chips.
That's some white shit, bro.
Well, I
like
barbecue.
Denver
I like barbecue.
Suburb shit right there.
I didn't realize we were going to turn around and attack me for something so inconsequential. I like barbecue chips. I enjoy a few salt and vinegar, despite my vitriol.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good pretzel, which is not a chip, if you're familiar.
Yeah.
And I like Takis a lot.
Takis. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
But you want to know what's white about me saying that? I really like the Trader Joe's knockoff Takis.
Okay, there you go.
So,
yeah.
I guess I always find a way to come back to my stereotypes.
Dude, does Trader Joe's rip out in Denver? Is it like headquarters?
No, I think LA is there. That's where they start. Yeah, I was going to Trader Joe's when I'd visit my California family like 15, 20 years ago.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we my girlfriend buys a lot of stuff from Trader Joe's. We enjoy them.
Yeah, it's fun. Give us like maybe something that people don't shop at Trader Joe's or they're trying to get into it. What's like the secret sauce? What's something that you get there that you're like, ooh?
They have some really, really good pre-brined and pre-seasoned chicken breasts that are really good. They do like chimichurri ones and like pesto ones that are in a bag. Yeah. They're a little expensive, but if you are like, hey, I really want to sauce up my chicken game, but you don't know how to do that quite yourself, they make great ones.
They got the pre-made.
Yeah. They also do a really good chicken sausage. Most of this is chicken focused.
Chicken, oh yeah.
And they have really good snacks.
Yeah, the snacks are. Yeah, it is just like an adult snack store, dude.
Also, they sell a lot of liquor for way cheaper than you'd expect.
Really?
Yep. And wine. They have Trader Joe's brand wine, which is pretty good.
What do you go for? White or red?
Typically red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cab or
something dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. I do. I get the hot honey from Trader Joe's because it's cheaper than
the wine, hot honey wine.
No, not honey. Oh. That would be cool. I don't know.
I'm certain it's there.
Do you think they have a hot honey wine?
Yeah, have you ever had mead?
No.
It's honey wine.
Oh.
So I would imagine someone somewhere has made hot honey mead.
Yeah, and maybe Trader Joe's.
I bet you anything. We'll Google it and it'll be there. I bet it's on the shelf at Trader Joe's right now.
Fair. Yeah. I like their regular hot honey like sauce. Like
so does Abby.
Yeah.
My girlfriend. I tend to shy away from eating spicy food. I will eat it and I do enjoy it, but it's just not what I prefer.
Yeah, I like the hot honey because it's like a sweet and a hot. And
it's nice.
Yeah, and it's just way cheaper if you buy like the Mike's hot honey or whatever, like the other like name brand shit is. It's like $10 for a bottle that's like a third the size of the one you get from Trader Joe's, which is like $3. So I respect it. Okay, aside from Trader Joe's, we're talking about Trader Joe's. What is the worst appointment to go to as an adult?
Worst appointment?
Yeah, what's the worst kind of appointment for you to go to as an adult?
Oh, fuck. Like something
doctor,
something that's
dentist,
regular. Something that's regular.
Yeah, car checkup. I don't know. Like you gotta any kind of appointment.
I really don't like haircuts. Yeah. And maybe I don't. It's not that. It's just one of those things that I just don't want to do. It's the last thing I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't mind the doctor. I don't love the dentist, but I care about my health. Like that stuff doesn't really bug me, but it's like the everyday maintenance that I really don't like.
Yeah. What pisses you off about the haircut?
I just don't feel like doing it. I don't want to sit there and talk to her. And I don't mean that she's a lovely woman, you know. Yeah. I just don't like it. I don't like that my shirt is itchy afterwards and I have to shower. I don't like that I had to take a part out. I just don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, and it's like too. I always get so afraid. Like I get the haircut, and then you leave, and you're like, I hate it. And then it takes like 2 or 3 days for you to like actually see what they were doing. Like you shower, and then you're like, oh, now I get it.
I tend to not even mind what I look like afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Because I usually only cut off exactly how much I want to. Like I know what I want.
Sure.
And my hair stays pretty long, not like yours, obviously, but
it's a little excessive.
Yeah, it is a little excessive. I've been saying that. We were talking. Your girlfriend and I were talking about it.
Fair.
Before this, yeah. I told her I wouldn't bring it up, but I feel like
that's okay.
I don't mind that. I just don't like getting the actual haircut.
Yeah.
I have to, since we're dancing around it, I don't like the lady who cuts my hair.
Yeah.
She does a great job, but she's just so brutal to talk to.
What does she ask you about? Does she pry?
No, she doesn't pry at all. She's just really boring and doesn't really let me say anything, and there's no dynamics to the conversation. She's a lovely woman and she does a great job, and I'm not hating on her. I just don't like being around her.
She's got to work on the riz, man.
I don't think I hate haircuts. I think I hate her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can go to someone else.
She does such a good job.
You can bring someone, bring
and
a buddy.
I know where she's going to be at all times and
That's
when
true.
she's there, and I know what she charges, and it's okay.
You got to bring a buddy. Bring someone for her to
like latch onto.
Yeah, because then she'll just talk to them. And
no, I don't. I can't stand to lose another friend to suicide. Okay.
Yeah, fair, man, fair. Well, we're getting close on that hour time, and what have we not touched on that we need to get to today?
That's up to you. This is your podcast.
Oh, okay.
What do you want to know about me?
I'm curious with what's going on with the Zins, man.
What do you mean what's going on?
Are you a Zinner?
I put them in my mouth. I feel sick for 45 minutes, and then I
And
do
you
it,
like
and then
this?
I do it again. No one likes it.
But why? Why'd you put it in your mouth in the first place?
Because I'm hopelessly addicted.
Were you addicted to another substance before?
No.
Just Zins.
Zins don't make you stop other things. They just help you start doing Zins.
Mm.
And
Okay.
they are kind of delightful sometimes.
This is an ad for Zins now.
This is an ad for if Zin will sponsor me, I will plug them at every single show. But you got to send me, let's say, a log a week.
Mm.
And that's nothing for you guys.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
How much? This is. I see 6 on there. Is that 6 packs?
That's 6 milligrams. There's
6
15 packs.
15 little
6
packs.
milligrams.
How long
in
does a pack last?
I think this side of it says enjoy up to an hour.
Okay.
I tend to take them out after 20 minutes. Not usually. I mean, sometimes you get a little like spinny, but
Okay.
mostly just because I get bored with it. Like it's in my mouth and I get annoyed that it's like I can't chew gum longer than 10 to 20 minutes either.
Yeah.
I'm a real tactile and sensory guy, and
So how did you get put onto the Zins? If you weren't,
Well,
you weren't smoking
I
cigs
put
or
one
anything?
in my mouth and I thought to myself, wow, that was terrible.
Yeah.
And then I did it again a bunch.
Wow.
Because that's what nicotine is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just surprising me. So someone maybe just like at a show and somebody's like, yo, bro.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's just hanging out. It's like cigarettes. That's how people get hooked on cigarettes. It's like
Yeah.
everyone knows cigarettes are gross,
Yeah.
but for some reason we all love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do look cool.
They look very cool. You're
look very
burning something in your hands and you're putting it in your body.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Zins, I think, are a little less cool.
They are less cool.
They're a little less cool.
Yeah.
It's like almost like you're chewing like tobacco.
Yeah, but you're not
But you're not
committing
as
to
cool.
the
Yeah.
cause. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you. And I would like to not do them at some point in my life. I've certainly cut back because it just it's not adding.
Is it like minty too? I've never done
Yes,
this, so I don't
it
know.
is. These ones are specifically cool mint.
Okay.
There's other flavors too. But the funny thing was that when Zins got really popular, they got sort of co-opted by like the Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson. Am I not allowed to say
Oh, yeah,
the
you
name
can
of
say
a
it.
rival
Yeah,
podcast
that's
on here?
okay. Yeah.
I know you and him are like
We're-
sort of neck and neck
Yeah.
on things.
Yeah.
So, and emphasis on neck when it comes to him.
Yeah.
And when Zins were getting popular, there was it got co-opted by that because it is considered they call them neural protectors, because nicotine, there is studies and some evidence that nicotine helps your brain make connections and protects your neurons
Really?
in the long run. There's connections about ingesting nicotine and people who have dementia at old ages.
Yeah.
But the thing is so a lot of Zen bros were like, well, it's a neuroprotector. It's like, well, not when you're ingesting 60 milligrams a day.
It's the same people that are like,
right.
weed's not bad for you. Weed's
Right,
not bad
it's
for you. No, weed is bad for you if you can't do anything else but smoke weed all
It's
day.
the same thing. That's
Yeah.
what was so funny about it. It was I had a friend who lives here in Milwaukee, by the way, and I love him, but I'm gonna shit on him for a second.
Let's
Who's a real dude, bro.
Yeah.
In that way, he's a real fratty. But he always what's good for your brain? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's awful for your heart though.
Yeah.
And you know what's bad for your brain is when your heart stops working.
Yeah.
And it is true that there are some potential neural benefits, but they are outweighed by the cardio benefit or by the cardio deficits because you're ingesting 60 milligrams a day. If you're ingesting 5 milligrams a day, maybe.
Yeah.
But come on,
or just doing it every once in a while.
Right.
But that's not what nicotine
That's
is
not
about.
what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's its whole selling point, is that
get
you're
it.
going to need it all the time.
Mhm.
And you're going to wake up angry at your girlfriend until you
Yeah.
have one. That doesn't happen to me, dear Abby, just so you know.
Dude, I don't know, man. I've seen my back, like when Juul pods before, like Trump nerfed those. You know?
Yeah, that stuff scares me way
Bro.
more. I don't vape. I never vaped. I mean, I've like have hit a vape
Yeah.
before, but like I never got into it.
No, when Juul, I mean, I never did any of that shit either, but my friends were like, when that shit was in its prime and they had like the mango pod. I'm sure you've heard of like the
Oh
mango
yeah,
pods.
I
were,
was
like,
in
a big
college
deal.
at the University of Iowa. Yeah,
Bro, I had a roommate. I've never smoked, I've never drank, I've never done any of that shit, right? And I have a roommate that I've lived with now for this is like we're going on like 2 years at this time, and he knows that, and he like can't find his vape, and I tell you, like my door is locked. He almost broke the handle on my door
yeah.
to ask me where the fuck his vape was.
It's like a baby in a hot car. People are breaking windows for it. Yeah,
I'm like, dude, I don't know.
It
He's like,
is-
where the fuck is it, bro? Where'd you put it? I'm like, why would I touch it?
It is crazy.
They're insane. Man.
The vape stuff really scares me because people do get serious like lung defects because you're ingesting chemical. And I know I'm ingesting chemicals right now.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that like the vape thing is much more sinister. You are burning a synthetic chemical and inhaling it and holding it in your lungs, and you hear these horrible stories of like 21-year-olds getting like having to get lung transplants. And I know that those are isolated cases, and I don't think you should live your life around isolated cases, but those things are fucking scary.
One of our biggest regulars on the show, P Dizzy, he actually,
Also vape if you want to vape. I don't care, but I'm not being a dork about it.
No, you're
I'm
fine.
just saying I don't like
That's
them.
why you don't do
Yeah,
them. That's
I don't
fair. No,
like
we literally have someone on this podcast regularly. He actually, around the age of 21, 22, had his lung collapse. And
Yeah.
it was probably, they also he had a huge
Scary.
growth spurt at the same time, but he was regularly using carts.
So he just
and
he
vapes.
just squished all of his organs.
both.
'cause
But they said it was
they stretched him in a taffy puller.
yes, kind of. Yes.
Sure. Yeah, it happens, man. And again, I'm not judging. I don't care. I'm zinning right now. It does not matter to me. Do whatever you want with your life. It could not matter less to me. It's just why I don't like them.
That's why you don't do them.
Yeah.
Fair. Would you ever? I know you said you do sponsorship with Zyn, but would you ever Zyn on stage? Do you ever have a Zyn in your mouth?
I will. But I told you I have to spit them out after 20 minutes. So if I'm headlining, I will not have one in. And also, usually, if I'm on a show that's like important, like if I'm in a club, I won't have a Zyn in my mouth because it's like it's in my mouth and I'm thinking about it and I want to like be part of this and also like you salivate and it's weird and sometimes you move it around in your mouth and I just don't want to be fidgeting with that.
Could you imagine if you choked on a Zyn in the middle of a set?
It'd be so funny. It would be
kinda
so
awesome.
funny. I've had them in like open mics before.
Fair.
But also like if I start to spin, it's like I don't want to be like, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to OD on nicotine on stage. Yeah.
Wow. What's the most amount of Zyns you've ever put in your mouth at the same time?
One.
I didn't know. I'm just asking. I don't know. I've never done
I guess these are 6 milligrams, so I have put 3 milligrams in my mouth before. But I usually do 3 milligram.
What would happen if you put everything in there at once?
I would vomit and have diarrhea, and then probably that would be the end of my day, if not 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, because 6 milligrams in is enough for me to be like, all right, this is
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
And I have friends who are like, yeah, I'll put 3 or 4 6 milligrams in. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
There's a comic in Milwaukee who I'm not going to say the name of and he's younger than me, and he rolled up to a show and he was like, oh, do you want to try one of mine? And I was like, what are they? And it was 32 milligrams. And he was like, yeah, I only do them at 6 p.m. And I was like, that doesn't matter.
What is the time? He's like, don't worry, man. I only do them at 6.
Yeah,
dude,
it's like,
fine.
oh, great. I'm glad that you're so healthy. It's like 32 milligrams would make my brain pop.
Jesus.
And I would puke everywhere.
Wow. Well, shout out to him, man.
Yeah, shout out to him.
He's staying ready.
He's a soldier.
Well, Evan, thank you for doing the show. Thank you for popping out and talking some shit with us. I appreciate it.
What's the chat saying? Can I see the chat?
Yeah, we got some people in the chat here. Diego says, "Yay, Evan! So awesome to have LGBTQ for Pride Month."
I was just about to say. Usually, Diego calls me a gay slur, and he can say that, by the way, to the viewers. So I was like, as soon as the sentence started, I was like, "There's no way he's being earnest." And then he called me gay. So
there we go.
That's Diego.
We got someone who says Nickelback. I imagine they're referring to
my hair.
me.
Can you flip to? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were talking about my hair. No, I think they're referring to yours.
Probably mine.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Will says, "Can't wait to see the special." Excellent.
What's Will's last name?
Will Heritage.
Oh, Will's a good friend. I love that boy.
And then we got people laughing at my hernia stuff. And then,
hey, shout out Will. That's very kind of him. I went to college with him. I took a class with him. He's a good dude. And then he just popped up at a show one time in Minneapolis, and He's a good man.
Excellent, man.
Yeah.
Shout out Will. Will's a real one. Then we got I wish I had clients that hated talking from Carrington, who's been on the show, and she cuts hair. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you'll have
Well,
to-
Carrington, I'm gonna need you to have a chat with my lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she can set her straight and be like, hey, just pipe down a little.
Her name's Laura, and she's from Albania. So
Respect.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
You think maybe
she's from
potentially.
Albania. She's
she
told
could
me.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could be. She's
Yeah.
probably said it. Next time you take notes, and then you. What if you told her you were on vocal rest or something?
She wouldn't. I don't think she has a conception of what that means. Yeah.
I was trying to think of.
And I'm not being judgmental about her being an immigrant. I'm saying that I know this woman well enough to know that if I said vocal rest, she would ask me a bunch of questions of what that meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Good point. Good
Yeah.
point. Well, if you guys, I mean, Will already kind of plugged it for us, but I linked all Evan's stuff down below, his Instagram there, so you check that out. The special.
Go to follow my YouTube page,
Yeah.
because we are on YouTube right now, and you're on YouTube right now. So
Yeah.
if you're watching this and you're on YouTube, it's like really easy for you to go search Evan Hall Comedy.
Yeah.
Will loves it. He's there.
He's
he
there.
hangs out there.
Yeah.
You can do that. So do that.
And the special will be dropping.
I just put my arm in front of your camera. I just realized that,
That's
too.
okay. It's all right. Yeah, the special will be dropping July. It's July 9th.
July 9th.
Yeah.
At 8 p.m. Central, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you like it, share it, and if you don't like it, then you should watch it a bunch of times because you
Until you like
hate it so much. Yeah, you should let it play, and you should show all your friends how much you hate it.
Yeah. Make reaction videos.
Yeah,
Yes.
post it online and be like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah.
You should do that.
That'd be good.
But yeah, follow my YouTube. It's at Evan Hall Comedy. Follow my Instagram. It's at _Evan Hall _ which is a clunky name, but I couldn't get Evan Hall because he plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna work on changing that, but I don't know what to change it to yet.
Fair. Well, no, we appreciate you doing the show, man. I appreciate everybody that tuned in live. Those people that are going to be listening days after here on YouTube or watching and viewing over on Spotify. I want to do a quick shout out to our patrons. It'll be up on the screen right now. If you guys are interested in getting behind the scenes access to extra videos, extra podcasts, as well as a series where I break down how I mix, master, write, record every single one of my songs, go to patreon.com/Darren Rita, and you can help support the channel for as little as $1. Also want to say a quick shout out to Alpine House 2. And
Shout out to Alpine House.
and Impulse Cameras for sponsoring today's episode. And with all that stuff being said, I will see you guys next week. This has been the 309th episode of the Detox Podcast. I'll see you guys